Hi, this is Jen Rubin, and this is Jen Rubin's Green Room. If this were President Biden and he gave a press conference with 162 lies, he then posted on social media that his opponents' crowds were a figment of AI, and he went on another social platform and began to slur his words, slush around, skip topics, talk as if he were lisping. I don't know. It was a little hard to hear. People would cart him away. That's what Donald Trump has been doing. It's gotten worse. Yes, he still leaps from topic to topic. Yes, he still makes no sense. Yes, he speaks of himself in grandiose terms, but he's discombobulating. He is deteriorating before our eyes, and that's because he's losing. And his worst nightmare, he's losing to an African American, Asian American woman. That is death for a narcissist and a racist like he is. So no wonder he's falling apart. But it's bizarre. You can read the press accounts of the three events that I pointed out, and you would not have any analysis from mental health experts, aging experts. You wouldn't see any call for him to get out of the race. There is nothing of the kind of scrutiny that President Biden was subjected to after his, albeit bad, debate performance. Each one of these, in its own way, is worse for Trump than it was for Biden. But we have gotten so inured, or the press has gotten so inured to Donald Trump, and so committed are they to keeping a horse race going, that the pretense of treating him like a normal, sane person obliviates everything else. And as a result, they are telling a demonstrably false narrative about this race. They are still presenting him as the head of a party. They still write columns that speak of him advancing ideas, making arguments. No, he rants, he rambles, and he sounds increasingly desperate, frustrated. He's going off the deep end, and I would too, because remember, if he loses, he not only loses face, loses his entourage, loses the constant attention, but he faces criminal prosecution on multiple fronts. So, of course, he's panic stricken. You know, the most interesting thing about that Elon Musk, whatever that was, you can't call it an interview because when a donor starts serving up softballs, it's not really an interview. But you know what was the most remarkable thing? He joked, but Donald Trump never jokes, about leaving for Venezuela if he loses the race. I bet he will. Can you imagine him sitting in the United States, being subjected to ridicule, harangues, being called a loser, and having to face jury after jury? I really can't. And yes, it's a complication with the Secret Service in tow, but we've seen that they're not very sharp, to put it mildly. I wouldn't put it past him to flee. And provided he doesn't go on social media, I don't really care where he winds up. I just want him gone from the political scene. And in 80 plus days, he could be, because Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are killing it. Not only do they greet his outbursts and his appearances with complete disdain and humor, but they twist the knife. They post pictures of their crowds. They inquire, is he okay? They mock the technical glitches that Elon Musk suffered on X when they couldn't get online for 48 minutes or whatever it was. They are having a delightful time. And meanwhile, they are having fun. They're engaging young people. They're hot on social media. They are happy warriors. And I'll tell you something else she's doing. She is really creating a new kind of progressivism. Yes, she is still looking towards income equality. She's still looking to advance the interests of working people, of the middle class. She still, of course, is defending reproductive rights, voting rights, but she's doing something else. She's become much more muscular on crime, on foreign policy, and on immigration. Those three issues Republicans used to run rings around Democrats, saying they were weak on the border, weak on crime, saying they were too mamby-pamby when it came to the Cold War. Well, she's eating their lunch on all three areas. She is touting her background as a prosecutor. She is touting, and rightly so, the success of the administration in driving down crime, especially violent crime. She is pointing to her support and defense of the Capitol Police and the FBI when Trump attacks both. She is a tough on crime liberal. And likewise on the border, she's putting out ads that could have been run by Republicans a couple cycles ago, before they were racist and ridiculous and delusional. Tough on the border, tough on international gangs, tough on drug smuggling. And why shouldn't she? She is in favor of all those things. And in foreign policy, as Donald Trump waxes lyrical about his relationship with dictators, she is tough as nails on Russia. She is tough as nails on maintaining the NATO alliance. She is a true internationalist when Donald Trump is some muddled mix of isolationism and dictator worship. So I think if you put those two things combined together, a more muscular attitude towards threats that face Americans and a progressive domestic economic policy and a message of mind your own damn business when it comes to social, cultural issues, that's a pretty attractive message for a lot of Americans. And frankly, the position she's taking, as I have researched up the wazoo, are positions that 60, 70% or more of the American people support. They like supporting clean energy. They approve of protecting Social Security. They want to tax the rich more. These aren't out of left field. These are mainstream policies. It's Trump and his band of loonies that are out there in right field someplace. So with all of this going on, you can understand why Donald Trump is hiding out at Mar-a-Lago, giving these weird performances. And on Friday, she's going to make a performance. She's going to give an appearance in North Carolina and Raleigh. And I suspect she's going to preview some of what the convention is going to talk about next week. She's promised to begin rolling out more of her economic agenda. So you're going to hear more of this populist economics from her. And then next week, we're going to roll right into the convention, which I think is going to be high emotion, high excitement. She is dazzling crowds. I think the delegates there are going to be rapturous, both in sending Joe Biden on his way and also welcoming this ticket that has lifted their spirits. And she's going to come out of there with a head of steam going into September, with only a couple weeks left before early balloting begins. So I think you have a transformed race and you have a transformed Democratic Party, which is good to see. What will the Republicans do if they do wipe out? Well, we're going to have to see. But let's hope it's not close, because if it's not close, they can't cheat. So keep your fingers crossed for a good convention. I'll see you next week. In fact, I'll see you from Chicago. So in the meantime, keep the faith. Bye-bye.